Okay, so now let's look at cultural sensitivity. People have various beliefs, various backgrounds, and we need to acknowledge those and make sure that we're not encroaching on those because that could influence our results as well. For example, if we're holding a class barbecue and, or maybe not a class barbecue, but like a class potluck of some sort, and I sent out a survey and asked you, are ribs better slow cooked or barbecued? Well, if you eat ribs, easy. You can pick one or the other question. Maybe there's another response that you have for that. But what if you're a vegetarian? Or what if your faith doesn't have you eating meat or eating ribs or something like that? You need to be aware of these kinds of things if you're presenting a survey in that manner. Or if you're presenting a survey or collecting data, you need to be aware that individuals with various cultural backgrounds may or may not be participating, and that might influence the way that your data is presented. Here's a doozy: ethics. The data that you collect cannot be used for purposes other than what you've outlined to the person participating in your data collection. So this is a big issue right now, especially in social media with things like Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and such. TikTok's a really bad one. Some crazy stuff going on online. Basically, if you're presenting your information to somebody, they cannot be selling that or using that to sell you something or influence you in another way. So an example would be if I took a survey of all of you, and on the survey I asked you to write down your address. And it could be just for identification purposes. But then if I go onto social and be like, hey, Facebook, look where my grade 9 class lives. Right? That's unethical. Okay, that's illegal, but that's unethical if it wasn't a teacher situation. I think it's a really, really tricky one. There's a lot of gray areas that overlap. It's a really tough one to pinpoint, and it's very difficult to make data collection that doesn't cross boundaries in some places, especially if it's important information you're looking for. You just need to be aware of it. You need to be very careful and make sure you share as much as you're able to share with the participants so that you're not doing something that would be invalid or improper, or proper term is unethical. Okay, so we're almost done. We're going to look at cost now. You need to be aware of how much it's going to cost to do your data collection. If you're not aware of that, it can catch up on you. It can halt your procedure right where you are because you don't have the funds to continue. For example, I could try to collect data and find out what Canada's favorite color is. Ideally, if I was doing this data collection, I would go to every single person in Canada and ask them what their favorite color is. But that would take me a long time, and I wouldn't be able to afford it because it would just take, one, too much time. We're going to get there in a second. But two, to travel across the country from place to place to place, pay for accommodations, the transportation, food, all these different things that are in the middle. It's going to cost too much. I can't do that. So I need to be aware that I can cut some of those costs and maybe do a survey of, say, 100 people in every city center and present that as my data collection. But then I can reference that, hey, I haven't spoken to everyone, but I have spoken to this many people, and this is what the result is. Okay, so our last parameter, our last problem that comes with data collection involves time. We alluded to it with cost already, but it's the time needed to get all of your data. An example would be something that's happening right now is how long does it take to release a vaccine? Well, time is a major issue because, yes, there is plenty of research, plenty of data collection on vaccines for different types of viruses, including different strains of the coronaviruses, and we could roll out vaccines within 2 months. Great. Problem with that is that there's not enough data collection. We realize that it's going to take a long time. Usually vaccines take a couple of years of testing and trialing and data collection before we can say for sure that it's going to work. Without doing that, there's a lot of holes in our data, holes in our research, which can lead to problems down the line. So if you're wondering why it's taking so long for a vaccine to just come out, it's because they're doing data collection. They're doing as much data collection as they can in such a short amount of time in order to protect the most amount of people. Very difficult to do, and you need to take that into account when you're doing data collection, whether it's something scientific or otherwise. Very important to have. Okay, so my board looks a little messy. It doesn't look as nice as I was hoping it was, but That's okay. We've looked at a couple of different types of issues that you could see with data collection, and I'm going to give you some problems where you don't have to limit yourself to these eight. There may be something else that you can think of, but I want you to identify what problems could exist if they exist with some of the types of data collection I'm going to present to you. And yeah, let's see how we do with that. If you're not sure, give me a shout. Solutions will be there, but sometimes it helps to have an explanation, and I'll help you out with that if I can. Hope you guys are doing good. I will see you soon. See you in the next one. Bye.